All right. So what we're going to do now is let me explain to you the different element in Tekla structure before we create our model. Okay. So we need to know what are those elements that we can use, or how we're going to use it in our model. All right, so let's start with the concrete. Okay, so if you go to the concrete tab, so you will find there the column, beam, panel, slab, footing, and then there's an item, and so on. Okay, so let's start with the footing, pad footing. So if you click on the pad footing, on the right hand side, you will see on the right hand side the properties of that particular pad footing. Okay, so that properties. So in the properties, you will see the name, meaning you can change the name of the pad footing. You can see the profile. So profile, this is the pad footing itself. What is the size? So in Tekla structure, the profile here that we are using are all parametric. Parametric means there's a particular shape and then you can change the size. So that one is, we call it a parametric. Okay? So let's say if you have a rectangular shape, then you just type the base and then the height, then that is the shape of your rectangular. So there's a you can change the parameter. So that's why we call it parametric. And then here, you can see that there's a material. So in the material, if you, going back to the profile, if you click on the profile here, if you click on the profile, you will see the profile database. So profile database, these are the profile that is available in Tekla structure by default. The profile varies, depends on the, but not much of a difference, but I can say it varies. It depends on the environment, because some of the environments, because of the localization meaning the local what do you call that, the local people on that particular environment maybe change or add the profile, so that only differs, but basically by default some of the general profiles are there, like rectangular, circular, or if you're talking about the structural steel, the I section, yeah. But of course, for the structural steel, that varies, depends on the environment, because environment, it depends on, let's say for example, in US, the structural steel that they're using are W section. In UK, the structural steel sections that they're using are UB and UC section, the universal beam and universal column. And then in Europe, I think they use the H section, if I'm not mistaken. So that one varies on the structural part. But for the concrete part, then most of the time it's the general rectangular, the slab, so the circular column, so something like that. So, but as you can see here, that's why I asked you to go to the profile, so you can see a lot of profiles here. Let's say here you have the inverted T section, the L-shaped section for the ledger beam. Okay, so you have also the predefined fix, or you have also the parametric cross section. So this parametric cross section, even though we have the profiles already in the system, parametric cross section means you can create your own profile. You can create your own parametric profile. So meaning, if that profile is not available in the system and then you need that one in your work, you can create and then put that one in the library or in the database, and then you can use that one. Okay, so you can make it parametric as well. So just put some rules. But again, that one is more on the advanced thing. Huh? So yeah, so this one are the database of the profile. So there's a lot of profile there. All right. So now let us go back to the material. Material as well. You have the database of the material. So this one, it depends on the the material that you are going to use for your concrete. For your steel, you have also material for steel, material for concrete, even material for the reinforcing bar, timber, miscellaneous, even aluminum, glass, gypsum, insulation, plywood, tiles, wood, and so on. Because as we always saying, the Tekla structure is for a multi-material 3D modeling. So it means any material you can model. It's a matter of calling that particular element. What kind of material are you going to use? So meaning, if I create a simple beam, this beam I can tell that this one is a concrete. I can tell that this one is a steel, aluminum, rubber, plywood, wood, tiles, or so on. Okay, so that's multi-material. So again, for the pad footing, we have the name, profile, material. Finish is, you can just simply key in the value of the finishes that you want. And then the class number is, we have around 15 basic class or basic color in Tekla structure. You may ask, hey, why only 15? Let's say I need the shading. We don't deal with that shadings, because Tekla structure is for structural. So we focus more on the structural part, not on the architectural, what do you call that, presentation of a building. All right. So that's the reason why we have only 15 colors. We can say 15 primary colors of Tekla structure. But having said that, later on, once we have the model, I can show you our object representation that you can choose a different shades of color. But that one is on the object level setting or object representation. Okay? So I'm going to show that one to you once we have the full model. That one is later. Alright, so going back to the footing, we do have also the position of the footing, vertical, wherein you have the middle, rotation, you have the front, back, top, horizontal, the horizontal position of the footing, whether it is going left, middle, or right. And then, okay, for the footing, you can establish the top and bottom coordinates. So the top and bottom coordinates of this one is a global coordinates. Global coordinates. So meaning, if I put 0, that top part of the pad footing will go to the 0 on the global coordinates. Okay, so if I type negative value, then it will go below the 0. Positive, of course, above. And cast unit here, you can specify here cast in place. All right, cast in place. So as you can see here, we have the precast and then we have cast in place. Now at the moment, we are going to concentrate on the cast in place. Okay? So for the class here, let's say you click 1 and then look, pick position. Once I specify once I set up the properties of my pad footing, then and then I can now pick the position. So if I click here, pick position, 1 click, then you have now the pad footing. So 1 click of a button, you have a pad footing. Why 1 click? Because in pad footing, it already established the top and bottom. We have already the size, the profile. So this one is parametric. If I type here 1,500 by 1,500, enter, so it changed. If I type here 2,500 by 1,500, modify, then that is my pad footing. Now again, the top is 0, so meaning it touches the 0 coordinates, right? So if I type here 500, so meaning from the 0, it will go up 500, see? If I type here negative 200, from the 0, it will go down negative 200, see this one? So that's how you control the positioning. Okay? Now, before you try, let me tell you that the pad footing the pad footing characteristic of the pad footing and the column are same. Because you're going to pick one point or one position, then it will draw the column or the footing. Why? Establish already the size of the profile and establish already the top and bottom. Okay? So here, if I click the column, so it's the same. Look at this one. It's the same. So if I pick this point, I have the column and the footing. Now, this is what I'm telling you about the coordinates. Look, if I click the column, look at the bottom. This footing, the bottom is 0. The column now, the bottom is 0. If I click on the bottom of the footing, what will happen? Yeah. So the column still on the 0 because it's not following. It will follow only the position, the location, but the position of the column still on according to the position of the top and bottom. Okay, can you try to create a footing and then the column? So try to change the size of the footing, try to change the position of the footing. I mean, you cannot go wrong here. I mean, you can you can change the value and then modify. Okay, change the value and modify. The only thing here is you cannot interchange the value of the no, you can try the top and the bottom also. So for your practice, I want you to create 2 footing and 2 columns like this. 2 columns and 2 footings. Okay? Okay, while you're doing this, maybe you may ask, hey, how can I create a circular column? Circular shape of the column. So maybe one of the column, you can type the profile D500. Okay? Instead of, okay, look, the profile of our column is 400 by 400. So the other column, you type here in the profile D, capital D as in diameter, D and then 500. So that one becomes circular column under the profile. Okay, next. So I have two columns. So the next thing is I'm going to add a beam. Okay. So if the column and the foundation was modeled by simply picking one point, okay, the beam is different. The beam you need to pick 2 points. Okay. So if I click the beam here, and then here I have the profile. The profile must be depth and then width. So draw the profile. Remember, the profile of the beam must be depth and then width. So here, if I type here 700 by 350, so the height is 700 and then the width of my beam is 350. Enter. And then let's change the color of the beam here. So look, you can see that there is a control here for the snapping. So I can snap on the top of the column. So 1 and then 2. So you have now the beam. So if you notice here, I'm trying to show you or to teach you how to really do the model in the 3D environment. It's not like we always go to that plan view and then we rotate and then make it a 3D. So as much as possible, if we can model that one in 3D view, it's quite easy. Okay, if you're used to it. So no need for you to go to the plan view and then draw and then rotate, make it as a 3D view. No. So we can model directly in 3D. Okay. So you will notice here as well. Earlier, as I've told you, so the beam must be cast in place. The column also must be in a cast in place. Okay, I want you to change the beam and column as the cast in place. Okay, so make it sure that all are made, the type are cast in place. So now, once you have this column and beams, so you will notice here, let's say for the beam, let me just show you the positioning. So for the beam, you can see here the position. When you see that the on plane is middle, so meaning on plane here, this one is the handle. We call it as a handle. That yellow color and magenta color, that is a handle or a node. Okay? So yellow means start, magenta means end. Okay, in the positioning, start and end. Yellow, this yellow, if you notice, this yellow, and then magenta is the end. Okay? So look, this one is middle. If I change this one to right and then modify, enter, it will go to right. Okay? If I type here right and then I type here, let's say 150, so meaning it will go to right with the offset of 150. So that's the positioning. Alright? So, but most of the time for the beam, it will be middle and 0. Okay? Now, rotation. What is this rotation? Top. If it is top, then the positioning of this height and width, this is correct on the top. But if you want to rotate this one, the height to be on horizontal part, then you can change this one to front and then enter. See? It rotates. Right? But by default, we need to put that one on top so that this one will be the height and then the width. Okay? Now, if it happens that in the case that your profile is the width and then the height, then the positioning will be, I mean, the width is smaller and then the height is, the height is smaller and then the width is bigger, then it will be like horizontal. But of course, you can interchange that one by simply changing the rotation to top and front. Remember that one, huh? So don't worry if, let's say, something happens later that, hey, my height should be on the vertical side. Why it becomes horizontal? So no worry on that one. You can always change the rotation. And then under the rotation, if you type here the value, the rotation value, 90 degrees, 45, if I type 45 degrees, look what will happen. So it will be rotated 45 degrees. So meaning, this rotation can be useful whenever, let's say, we have a roof, we have a rafter. We have a rafter and then we put a purlins. The purlins is along with the inclination of the rafter. So you can use this rotation to rotate the value. Of course, you must know what is the value of the degree before you key in here. Alright? But again, to make it automatic, of course, UCS is the best way to make it automated in that particular inclination. Yeah. And then, lastly, for this positioning is that this at depth. If I click middle, modify, so look, so at depth, that one will be middle. If you know in the structural analysis, most of the model there is connected middle, right? Middle. The node to be connected in the middle. So this is the one. But of course, in the detailing, in the production, then this one must be behind. Okay. Now, you may ask, hey, when you model this column and beam, why you did the modeling of the beam on the center of the column? Okay, on the center of the column. Let's say this one is the column. Why you model the beam on the center of the column? Because again, if you're going to integrate the Tekla structure to a design software like STAAD, we have a Tekla structure designer as well, SAP 2000. So meaning you're going to export this analytical model to the design software. So they must be connected by node. So meaning it should be connected, this one, the working point of this one must be connected to the working point of the beam. So that when you export that one to the structural analysis, there will be no issue. That's the reason why when you model that one in Tekla structure, you model that one on the center line. Okay? Now you may ask, hey, but my connection, it should be flush on the, flush on the surface of the column. Yes, we know, but there are tools here in Tekla structure that you can flush that one later. Okay? But for the, in case that this model to be need to be exported to design software, then this must be the way. Alright? And, alright, so in that case, look at this one, look at this beam. Can you see this curved beam? Curved beam. At the bottom, curved beam. You can see the X and Y plane. X and Y, right? And then you can see the radius. Kindly type 3000. And then you enter. Okay. So you can see here, it's segmented. Why? Because your segment is 10. The maximum segment that you can add there, I think, is 59 to be smooth. All right. So that one is a curved beam. From beam, you convert that one to a curved beam. But if you change the plane to X, Z, then what will happen? So that one is something like an arc. But of course, this radius is too big. You can type 6,000 or let's say 5,000. So yeah, something like this. So that's how you change, how you modify or change the simple beam to a curved beam. Okay? But again, you may ask, hey, what if my curved beam is something like an S shape? Okay, something like an S shape. How can we do that one? Of course, you cannot do that one on the simple beam only. You can use a poly beam. Okay, so poly beam. Okay, let me just go back to the original. I'll put the radius to 0. Yeah, and then yeah, go back to the original. Now, let's move on to the other example. So I've shown you already the simple beam. Now, this time I'm going to show you the poly beam. Select the poly beam. Under the beam, pull it down. There is a poly beam. Select the poly beam. So the poly beam will be the same properties. Okay? Will be the same properties of the beam. They're both beams. The only thing is poly beam can pick a multiple point. Beam is only 2 points. Remember that one, huh? Okay. So look, for the poly beam, if I click here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Let's try this one. So how many pick points? 5. How many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So if I click the handle, that handle, the magenta color, you can select that one. Once you select that magenta color and then go to the right side, you can see here the shape of the chamfer. You can change, let's say, arc point and then modify. And then this one, you select also the arc point and then modify. So something like this. Middle button. There's no radius. I just use the arc point. If you use the arc point, then you don't need to choose the radius. But if you use the rounding, then you can put the radius. Let's say, for example, here I will use the rounding and then type here 2000, enter. So look, this is what happened. Huh? So, but if I use the arc point, then it will be full arc. And this one is 2000, and then see here. So this one is also nice if you have the radius. Okay, in addition to this, since this one is similar, look, if I go to this panel, okay, so what's the difference between the beam and the panel? Actually, the panel is similar to our poly beam. Okay? The panel element is similar to our poly beam. Why? Because you can pick multiple points also. But the only thing is, if you select the beam, then by default, it is the height and then the width, and then the position is behind. But for the panel, if you choose the panel, the position is front, above. So look, if I click this panel, and then, okay, click the panel, so you will notice here, the panel is 2,500 height, and then the thickness is 120 only. So it's a wall, right? So if I click here, 1, 2, and then middle button of your mouse, then I have a normal panel. Okay? But if I click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I use the panel similar to polybeam, and middle button of your mouse, then see, I have this panel. If I change this one to similar to radius of 2,000, and then this one is also 2,000, then look what will happen. So the panel is sitting on the beam. Okay? Is it clear? So kindly try that one. And then after this, we're going to try the slab. Slab. Okay, so now for the slab. Okay, before we go to slab, the question is, can we somehow use the beam to create a wall and vice versa? Yes, you can. So Tekla structure is something like it will not stop you to use the beam for the wall and then the panel for the beam. Okay, as long as we have the same output, then we don't have any issue on that one. We don't have, we are not locking you in the something like in the certain category that, hey, this one is a category of the beam, you cannot use this one for other. No, Tekla can be used. Even the beam can be used for the column. If you use the beam and then you click the bottom part, the bottom position and then the top position, then this one will be automatically a column properties. But if you click the top and then the bottom, then it's still the beam. It cannot identify that one is a column because the start point is on the top and then the end point is at the bottom, so it will not recognize as a column. But if the beam start point is at the bottom and the end point is at the top, then it will recognize at a column. It will automatically converted as a column. Okay, remember that one. Now, for the slab, so look, for the slab here, let's say I click on the slab. Let me just add a slab here first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then middle button of your mouse. So you can click any point in the slab. That's the reason why slab can be useful in the different shape. Let's say, for example, here. How can I put a slab here? So let's say here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then middle button of your mouse. And then here, this one, I can still change the rounding of this slab to 2000. See here? So if I press Control 2, look at the slab. Okay? So what is Control 2? Control 2 makes your model change in the mode. So if you type in your keyboard Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, Control 4, Control 5, so that are the 4 types or the 4 viewing mode. Okay, Control 1 is what? Wireframe. Control 2 is shaded wireframe. Control 3 is a white color and then colored upon selection. Control 4 is the solid rendered view. And Control 5 is the ghost image. So ghost image meaning it will only highlight. It will highlight when you select. That one is Control 5. So Control 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But most of the time in our detailing, I would recommend personally the Control 2. So that especially if we want to see the reinforcement inside, then it must be Control 2. All right. Let me go for the toilet. But okay, I just want to give you one exercise here. I mean, I haven't shown this one to you, but I want you to explore. I want you to see how you can follow the steps in the left bottom corner. Okay. Again, so if I go to this spiral beam, all right, select start position, and then let's say this center point. I don't know if I'm taking the. Okay, so start center point. That is the center point. Okay, got it. So start, center point, and then actually you can add a construction line here if you like. So how to add the construction line? Construction line here, line, and then let's say this one, vertical. The color blue is going up. The color blue is Z direction. So if I click now, concrete, beam, spiral. So let's say here, 1, 2, and then 3. So there you go. So going up. So if I change this one, remember this one is a beam. That's why the height and width. If I want to change this one as a ramp, maybe I can type here 1,500 by 150. And then change this one to front. Something like this. Right? So it's a matter of changing the position. So again, pick the start point. So this is the start point, and then the center point, and then going up, that one is the end direction. So this one also, the rotation angle, you can see that there is a total rise. You can change this one to 2,500, enter. So something like this, 5,000. So you can still change the value here. Rotation angle 720. If I type 360, so something like this. Okay, 720. So you have so it will be 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so once you are done with this one, I think you're ready to do the exercise. What exercise? The what do you call that? The PDF file that we inserted. So those file has this profile, okay, that you can follow the size, except the second floor up to the roof. Okay, so I want you to create the first floor, the finished floor line, the first floor, and then up to the second floor. But for the second floor to the roof, leave it blank. Or maybe you can still follow. We can just simply convert that one to structural steel later. Okay, so you can just simply follow that one. So what I want you to do is this. Okay, so here I'm going to delete everything here, alright? And then what I will do is I'm going to turn on the reference model. Okay, there you go. So I already turned on the reference model. So look, I can simply add my pad footing here using the reference model. Now, take note of this one. If you're a little bit annoyed about, if I put my cursor, look at my cursor. If I put my cursor to the reference, always highlight, right? If you don't want this one to be highlight whenever you put your cursor, you can just simply press H, letter H. So meaning you turn off the highlight. So look, it's not highlighting anymore, but it will be selected when you click only. It will be highlight only when you click. Unlike when the H is on, so whenever you put your cursor, it highlight. But if you type H, so you're turning off the highlight option. All right, so kindly continue on this one. So I will give you 1 hour is enough to model this 3-story building. All right, so 3:30 will continue. Okay, we continue at 3:30. If you have any question, just let me know. All right, so quickly, so here I have the 400 by I have the 1.8 by 1.8 by 1,000. So what I will do here is okay, so from the pad footing, I'll type here 1.8 by 1.8 by this one is negative 1,000. Okay, cast in place, making sure that this one is cast in place. And okay, and then click on this 1, 2, and then 3. Right? So I have the 3 parts. And then for my column, it's here, it shows 400 by 400. So for the column, I'll select the column, and then I type 400 by 400, change the color maybe here, and then cast in place as well. So the height of the column is 3,500, and then I click here 1, 2, and then 3. Right? So now, once I have this column and foundation, so I can add now the beam here, but the size of the beam is somewhere here. Cannot see, but I can expand this one so that no need for me to go to the second view, but I will just fit to work area, and then here 700 by 400. Okay, so I'm going to add here 700 by 400. So let's say I'll change the color here, yeah, and then here 1, 2, and then this one also. Okay, then I can just simply copy this one. This one is reference model. Okay. Okay. So what I did is I turned off the selection of the reference model so that when I make a window, it will not highlight. Okay, so there's a selection tool here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see here. This one. I turn off this one so that I will not select the, it will be locked. Okay, so I'm going to select this one, right click, copy linear. So copy linear to Y direction is how much? 6 meters, right? So Y direction here 6 meters. How many? 1, 2, 3. So type here number 3. Copy. So there you go. So you have now the this frame, and then we can now add this beam also from this point to this point. Oops. Undo. 1, 2, 3. Okay, or you can do this way. 1 and then 2. Right? If you want to divide this one into 2, what you can do is this. Select the edit. You can see here split. Split, select this beam, and then click on this point. Select this beam and click on this point. So now this one will be 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So you can do the same, and then if you want, you can just simply copy this one, copy from this point to this point, and there you go. Okay, so now that I have this frame, I can copy this one also. This. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, So look, I can just simply copy this one from this point. 1, 2, 3. Okay? But the problem here is this one is longer. Right? Also this one. Also this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So how you're going to select those 4 points? The handle, so that you can move. We can do that one. Actually, we can, I don't know if we can click 1, 2, by pressing the control key, I can select 1, 2, 3 point, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or just simply, okay, again. Or just simply make a window by pressing the alternate key, Alt key from your keyboard. Press the Alt key and then make a window. So I selected that 4 handle. So once you selected those 4 handles, what you can do is right click, move 1 and then 2. And there you go. Okay, but the thing here is this size is 600 by 400. Done. And then this one is D450. D450. Enter. Okay, now if you want to double check that your profile is correct, you can always display the profile inside. So no need for you. Okay, let me check. Is this one is correct? Double click. 400. Okay. Click here. 600 by 400. So you don't need to do these things, but you can show the profile here by simply opening the view properties. Under the view properties, go to display. Under the display, you can see here advanced, and then part label. Select the profile here. So add the profile to the right side and then here modify. See here? But it's something like it's a bit messy because it's showing all. So you can just simply show for the selected one. Meaning, if you click selected and then modify, so look what will happen. If I apply this one, what happen is it will only show the profile on the selected items. Okay, again, double click the view, go to display, and then advance, then part label, show for selected, and then select the profile. Kindly do that one first. Okay, so now once you're done with this, okay, another thing here is, look, this one, okay, up to second floor. All right, up to second floor. Huh? So what I will do is I will just simply turn off my turning off my reference because I already know what I already know what are the profiles here. Okay, so now if I want to limit again my view, my work area. Okay, so I will select the work area using 2 points and then click 1, 2. So now it's limited again to that work area. Okay, so now what I will do here is just simply select all by making a window from right to left. So it will cross the elements. And then right click, copy, special, linear. So going up is what? Z direction. How much? The height is 3,000. 3,000, right? So we need to copy 3,000 so that the beam will be placed on the 3,000. We cannot copy 3,500 because the beam will be over of 500. Okay? So look what will happen, 3,000. So copy. Now, the issue here is our column is colliding to the bottom column. Why? Because the height of the column is 3,500. When we copy 3,000, then there's excess of 500. Correct? So we need to cut that column. So how to cut that column? So select all the columns, making a window again from right to left. And then, if you look onto the right side, you can see here the profile is varies. Why? Why the profile is varies? Because you have a circular column, you have a rectangular column, right? So it varies. Don't worry about it. But they have a common denominator here, which is the top and the bottom height. So the bottom, we need to cut 500, correct? So what should be the bottom value here? 3,500. Enter. And that's it. So you have already the proper position of your column. Alright? And lastly, for the top part, this part, okay. So for the top part, yeah. So I selected that part and then copy again, copy, linear, 3,000 again, going up. Yeah? So you have now the full frame. But like what I've said, the top part we need to change as a structural steel. Okay? Structural steel. Okay, kindly select all this column. Kindly select all the column. And then under the profile, I want you to change the profile to UB or UC 305 by 305 by 118. Under the profile, I want you to change the UC 305 by 305 by 118. Huh? UC is under profile, I. Yeah? Okay. UC 305 by 305 by 118. So universal column, apply and okay. And then, before you modify, make it sure that the material is steel. Okay, the material is steel. Let's say 37JR or let's say S275. Yeah, steel material. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you do the columns level by level. You don't do like columns from 0 to level 3.
Yeah, this time I did it as a level per level.
But it's not wrong if you do it.
Yeah.
If the size is the same.
Correct.
If I have done it like all the way to level 3, can I split?
Yeah, same thing. But same strategy what I did earlier for the beam. Yeah. So yeah, that one is depends on your requirement. If the column is something like from the bottom to the top, then it's okay. Even if there is at the end the column is something like changing, you can still use the column, but we can do the cutting. Okay. But at the moment I use per level. Okay. So now I change this one to S275 and then apply. Okay. Maybe I'll change the color of the structural steel to red and then modify. Look what will happen. So see, this is the steel, structural steel. And then for the beam, I want you to select all the beam, all this beam. Oh, sorry. Select all the beam and again also change it to let's say UB. I go to this UB, let's say UB 406 by 140 by 46. UB 406 by 140 by. The steel column, the profile is UC 305 by 305 by 118. And then for the beam,
I can just type, right?
huh?
I can just type it.
Actually, you can type, okay, but you can find that one under the profile database. But if you type, you must type it correctly. So capital U C and then 305 305 305 star 305 star 118.
I'll just look for it.
Yeah. This one is the beam. Yeah, yes. UB3 UB414 UB406 by 140 by 46. Don't forget to change the material, because that is the important part, to change the material to steel.
What is the material code?
S275. That one you can type if you like. S275. She selected this sample. Yes. To split? I'll select the view first. Right, you select the split. And then select the view. And then select
What was the profile of the beam?
Beam is UB. Okay. Yes. UB 406. 406. Then the material is need to change that. That's the important part.
Material was also
S275.
Is there something like matching attributes?
Yes, there is. Let me show you. Okay.
That makes it so easy. You pick one and then you click on the rest.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say, for example, I'm changing this one.
Yeah.
Let's say yellow. Okay. And then I change the size of this one to 457 by 167, and then modify. So this one is bigger one, right? So let's say I want to copy the properties of this beam to the surrounding, to the perimeter beam girder, right? So all I have to do is to select this, and then you can see that there is this one, the contextual toolbar, the cube, the small cube. That one we call it a contextual toolbar. We copy this one from Microsoft. Remember the Microsoft?
Yeah.
There's a floating toolbar. Okay, this is the one, same thing. So if you notice here, there is a copy properties, double click for multiple objects. So if you double click on this one, so here, click, click. There you go. Yep.
I can also see that particular like theme,
This software.
right? Save it.
Pardon? Sorry.
I can also save it right on top. Save the beat because there's a so I can make all my changes on that particular beat. And then I save that.
You want to see?
Yeah. And then I just apply that same for the other key.
You mean this one here?
Correct.
Yeah, you can also do that one.
It's the same.
Actually different, but the output could be the same. Yeah. So because I can also remember we have the filter, right?
Yeah.
I can also make a filter and then do that one at once instead of clicking one by one. But like again, as long as the output is, you get what you want, yeah, there's no issue. Like what I've said, in Tekla software, there are different ways to handle things.
No, it's just. Mission. Mission. I think the father.
I think it's raining. You can have we can have a break first, yeah. So 10 minutes, 3:30, we'll start again.
The top one is 3,500. 3,500. Yeah. Yeah. 7,000 to 10,000. No, 7,000. This end. Yeah, why not? Yeah. That's the last part. That's the last one. Is it finished?
Okay, let's try to create something like an irregular shape. So in this case, how we're going to do this one? So let's say this one is a straight one. Straight one. So, and then here, we're going to add a construction, circular construction point, construction line, circular one, and then here another circular one. And then here, another circular one. So using the construction line, we will able to create this kind of beam. Actually, this one is something like it's not that I made up only, but this one is a real project that it's a balcony that you have a shape like this. Okay, so what we can do is let's try how we are going to do this kind of profile. Okay, so we have this beam. This one is the beam. This one is on the top view. This one is the top view. So at the moment, let this beam as only a rectangular one. Actually, the real one of this one is something like this is the shape. That is the shape of the beam actually. But for the meantime, we use the rectangular one. So we will lay out. We don't know the size. Then we will just try. We'll just try this one. So maybe we can decide on what size of the circle we can add, and then let's create these three curves. Okay, so let's try this one. Maybe we can do that one in parallel. So like you can see this one. All right, so here, let's say I have I can put that one on the floor. Let's say this one. I'll extend the work area, and then let's say I put a beam here. Yeah. So this beam will be standard beam. What? It's all done, huh? Okay. Ooh. Sorry. Okay, let's change this one to, let's say, 500 by 300, enter, and then this one is C40. Okay, now for the circular one, for this one, we can now add a construction point or construction line. Go to edit, construction line. All right. So let's say in this case, we have the bigger round. So you can use a construction circle here. Construction circle. There are three types of construction circle. Okay. So whether you use a 3 points, okay, these 3 points, or construction circle by center point or radius. So meaning, if I have this one, if I click somewhere here, something like this. So I have already the construction circle here. Again, let me repeat, So go to the construction line, construction circle. So here I will use the construction circle by center point and radius. So I'm going to click from here. Maybe somewhere here. Yeah. and then make a perpendicular there. Right? Perpendicular. And then here, maybe I'll make a smaller circle. There. So now the question is the middle one, or maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, and then here, I don't know how we can make it round. So maybe I can use the 3 points. 3 points here. 1, 2, something like this. 3. A bit close. I don't know if we can. Okay, here we can modify this one. So something like this. So what you will do is something like the circle. This one is your reference. It will curve here and then here, curve here and then curve here. Okay, so approximately maybe I'll move this one a little bit. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Let's try this one. So beam, poly beam, and then 600. So from here, 1, 1, 2, and then here 3, and then 4, 5, and then 6, 7 and 8, and then 9. So let's see if that one works. Arc point. This one is also arc point. No, doesn't work because of the points. Maybe I need to add another points there. Okay, let's see. So to add another point here, I can use the direct modification. So here, direct modification, I'm going to move this one a little bit here, and there you go. See? Not that close, but a bit. So you can see that because of the curve, so I need to add another point so that there will be a space there to what do you call that, to bend. So that's the reason why I added this. But the good thing with the direct modification, if you want to let's say if you want to reshape this one, so you can do it something like this. Do something like this. But again, with the reference of construction line, it will be, of course, it will be much more smoother because this one, see, there's an angle. So I will go back to my original one and see, that one is smoother. Okay. So the thing here is, if you want to add the slab for this one, so same thing. All you have to do is to make it sure that this one is cast in place. Cast in place. Okay. So if you want to add slab, so all you have to do is to click on that construction point, on that point, this one, the point of the beam. So you go to the slab and then pick that position of the beam. 1, 2, 3. So same thing. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then middle button of your mouse, and then you have now these beam, let's say 100. Okay, so that one is the slab. So change this one to arc point, this one to arc point, and lastly this one to arc point. Yeah, so now you have the slab there. Okay. Actually, just to show you the actual, so this project, this is the project that I'm talking about. They use 2.Tekla for this. So if you notice, see a lot of curve. Basically, this one was modeled, started from Revit, and then import it in 2.Tekla. But since this one is they're doing a precast, so they cannot use the Revit model. They cannot use the converted Revit model. Why? Because this beam from here to here, that one is, it models as one element in Revit, and you cannot make it as a precast, right? Because it's too big. So what happened is we cut that one into pieces to be a precast panel in 2.Tekla structure. So they remodeled that one in 2.Tekla with this curve. And then, like what I've said, the shape of the beam is this one. It's not the normal rectangular one. So, but this one. So this one is Amber Sky. So you can see this project in Amber Road in the East Coast. Okay, so again, let me just let us go to the other topic. So this one is the modeling, but before we end this one, so I just want to show you the modification on this foundation, the mat foundation. If you notice here, there should be a 1 meter, 1 meter on the other side, right? 1 meter, 1 meter. So the direct modification is very useful here. Why? Because if I click this direct modification and then select this foundation, look what will happen. If I select this surface, I don't know if you have used SketchUp. So you remember there's a push-pull tool. So it's similar. So here I can select this surface and then pull, let's say 1 meter. So this one, 1 meter. So this is also 1 meter. And lastly, this one. Yeah, so you have now the extension of 1 meter on each side. So using the direct modification. Alright, so now that we have this model, if you open the view properties and then the projection, use this orthogonal, change it to perspective, and then modify. So this is the perspective view. Okay, so perspective view. So as you can see the difference between the perspective view and orthogonal. So perspective view is used, of course, most of the time for viewing purposes. But for modeling, detailing, I will not recommend to use the perspective view because of the zooming capability of that one is something like it always zoom around. Yeah. So this one is for the basically for if you want for viewing, if you have a model, then use the perspective view. And in the perspective view, we can fly. In orthogonal view, we cannot fly. So what is fly? Press the Shift F, and then pick the view. This is this is the fly. So here, when you pick the view and then you just move the mouse, move around, so you can see. So it's like a walk around, a walk through. So again, Shift F and then pick the view. There you go. So if you press Control, it will go down. Control, it will go up. Something like this. And then move up. around. Yeah. Okay, so this one is the fly. So if you go to this view, you can see this one, Shift F, fly, helicopter. There's a helicopter logo there or helicopter icon. So that one is for the fly. Yeah. So try that one a little bit. This one is better if you have a huge model, a bigger model. This small model is something like not much. Okay, now let's go back to the original one. Put it back to the orthogonal. Okay, now another viewing option here in Tekla is this visualizer. So if you go to this view, you can see this visualize. This one, you can see the visualize. So to see the photorealistic model, you can go to this visualizer. This one is the Trimble Connect visualizer. Now, if you click visualize all, kindly click visualize all. So once you click visualize all, it will create a new view, which is like what I've said, it's something like a photorealistic model or view here. So as you notice here, if it is a concrete, look at the surface of the concrete, yeah. And then if it is a steel, so it's something like a galvanized steel. And you can put some shadows. You can also change the what do you call that? The scenery. I mean the here, if you click this cloud and sunlight, so you can make it a dark. The shadow, you can change the shadow, or you can move around, change the lighting, make it darker. Okay, sunshine or sunset. And the best thing here is this. If you click this picture icon, this one at the bottom, so this picture icon, we can save the path for the walkthrough. Okay, so meaning, let's say for example, this is the first view. Okay, just simply click the plus sign, and then rotate it, and then click the plus sign again, zoom in, click the plus sign, rotate a little bit, and then move, looking at the bottom, plus sign again, zoom, plus sign, and then rotate, and then plus sign, rotate, zoom out. Yeah. So once you have all this capture scene, you can now click the play button. There's a play button there. So there you go. So now it will move to the path that you have selected. Again, if you have a huge model, this one is much better to see in a bigger model. All right. So the material of this one, you can map the material like what do you call that? A grass. If you want to put a grass below, then you can change the material. What is this? Okay, so let's close it. Now, let's move on to the view again. Before, because we have done already the modeling part, so it's time for us to do a filter. Okay, filter. So how we do the filter? So for filter, there are two types of filter. Okay, two types of filter.
How do you exit this?
I just close it. There's a X button on the right, on the top. Maybe you need to exit that one, the full screen.
Then just close the window.
Yeah. You just want.
Okay. So maybe that's the new part.
Yeah, the nice one is the water is good for
So it's like oil and gas. Actually, that's the first time. Maybe there's new updates that
It has also snow.
Okay. So if you click that like perspective. Yeah. Baha. May bagyo kasi. Okay, so now there are two types of filter. Okay, one is the view filter, view, and one is the selection. Select filter. Okay, so this view filter and select filter, the rules can be created as one rules for both. The only thing is, if you want to use as a view, then use as a view. But when we create the view, when we create the rule, we can create that one as one rule. Okay? So, how to do that? So, the first thing is, we create that one in the view filter. Just double click on the view. Double click on the view. So, from the view properties again, from the view properties, if you notice here, we already tried this name, angle, projection, representation. We haven't tried that one yet. The visibility, okay. Now display, we already seen the display. This time we go to the visible object group. Visible object group. Okay, so visible object group. So in visible object group, just click this object group. Click the object group here. Okay, click the object group. And then once you click the object group, we need to create our rules. Okay, our rules. So to create that rule, I want you to click on the new filter. On the right side, there is a new filter. Click on that one. All right? And then, can you see the Save As? On the right side of the Save As, there is an expand icon there. So it will expand that one where you want to save as. Okay? So meaning, if you save as the rule, and then you check this one, check the selection filter, object representation, and organizer, selection filter, and all drawing types, meaning those rules that we are about to create will be saved, will be used under the view filter, selection filter, object representation, and so on. Okay, so we don't need to We don't need to go to the selection filter and then create again a rule. We don't need to go to object representation and create again the same rule. No need. But once we check this one, whatever rule we create here in the view filter will be adapted in the other filter. Okay, so the first rule is this. Click add row, and then under the add row, you can see the category. Select the object. At the bottom, the last part is the object. Now, the meaning of this is the filter will select the category of the object. So object, meaning any object at the moment. Now, what object type we want to select? So meaning under the property, category is object. Object what? Object type. What is the object type? Okay? Under the value, if you pull down the value of the object type, it will show you the different object type. The different object type could be assembly, could be bolt group, could be a connection, could be a part, and so on. Reference model or reinforcing bar. So at this point of time, I want you to select object type as a part. The port one, the port. Okay? So if the object type is equals to part, then we are sure that the system we are selecting the part. Okay? It will not select the reinforcement, it will not select anything but the part. That is the object type. Now, the second rule, we add another row. Okay, the second rule is if the part, select the category as a part. So now, the system selected the object type as a part. Now, again, the second rule is if this part name, okay, but again, the part could be name, profile, material, finish, prefix, and so on. You can choose anything. But at this point of time, let's choose the name. But what I'm telling you is, it's not only limited to name. Huh? You can use a profile, maybe all the same name, but different profile. So you can use that one. Okay? So name, and then equals to what? So the value will be equals to select from model. Why select from model? Because I don't want you to mistype the name. Sometimes if you type the column, but in the model it's columns, then it will not work. Okay? So it will be better for us to select from model, click the select from model, and then from the model, you click on this column, this one. See? Select the column. I just select one of the columns. So here, select from model, and then your cursor, select the column, one of the column, and then automatically that name will capture and then put it here. So no mistyping of the spelling. Okay? And then after that, save it. Save as, let's say, column, or you type here ace underscore column underscore filter. Alright? And then save as. Okay. Remember, once you click save as, now the big question is, where does it go? Where does it save? Okay? If you go to the model folder, here, under the model folder, I just want to show you before we continue so that you know what's going on inside the model. So if you go to the model folder, click on that one. So under the attributes, double click the attributes, then look for the ace column filter that you saved. It's all there. So if you notice here, there are many ace column filter, ace column filter, ace column filter. That ace column filter is for filter for view, selection, object representation, organizer, and so on. Because I checked that one. That's why it will be available on that particular attributes. Okay? So close. Now, the next thing to do, because now here we are building a library of the filter. We are building the library. So we have already the column. So the next thing is this. I'm going to change this one to, before I change, you don't need to follow, but before I change, what happened if I click modify? Here, see? It shows only the column. But at this point of time, I did not differentiate the column, the concrete column and the structural steel column. It's all column. So if you want to differentiate, then that one is another rule. Okay? So now, I have the column. So let me remove this one and then modify. And then this time, I'm going to select the, select from model and then select the beam. So this one is beam. Then I'm going to save this one to Ace Beam filter, save as. And then select again. So I'm just continuing this one to create the filter for different parts here. Select from model. I'm going to select this one, footing, and then type here footing. And then save as. What else? I don't have the slab, but let's say foundation, this one. Foundation. So this one is foundation. Save as. If you have a slab, then you add the slab. Okay? So now that I already created the library, so here, this one will be available in the pull-down menu. Look at this one. Ace beam, ace column, ace footing, ace foundation, and so on. If you have wall, ace slab, and so on. Okay? So now, what I will do is cancel it. Cancel. I don't need to modify, because if I modify, then it will adapt in my view. So I need to cancel it. So now, to change, to check what we have done is correct. So look. So from the view properties, again, from the view properties, view visible object group. So here, it will be placed here. See? At the bottom. So if I click here, ace beam filter, modify, so all the beam will be there. So here, if I click ace footing, modify, so all footing. If I select ace foundation filter, modify, so it's a foundation. Alright? So it's there already, because you have already created in the library. Alright? So now, if you want to show all, go to the standard and then modify. So that one is the view filter. Okay? That is the view filter. Now, for the selection filter, you need to, okay, look. View filter is the one show in the view. So selection filter meaning, if I make a window, or let's say for example, maybe I'll remove the display. I'll remove this one, because that one is too messy now. Okay, look, I press Control 5, right? So Control 5 meaning, if I make a window, look what will happen. It selects all, correct? Now, if I select something in my selection filter, let's say ace beam. I select the ace beam. So look, if I make a window, it will show only beam. And again, here ace footing. So if I make a window, it will show only the footing. So that one is the filtering. gusto mong burahin doon sa blue na yon. Okay. Sa attributes. Yeah. So if you want to delete, let's say you created the filter, and then you want to delete that one in the library, you need to go to the model folder, attributes, and then you look for this one, and then delete. Okay? So if you don't want to, if you want that, don't want that filter to be available again in the model. Yeah. Okay, go to the display. Yes. Yeah, and then go to this one. Okay. So Okay, the next one is the clip plane. The clip plane. So this clip plane, this one is especially when you are doing the modeling or detailing. So clip plane will help us also to slice the model. So if I click this clip plane or Shift X, or this icon under the view, this scissor icon, okay, or right click on the view and then create clip plane. So look at this cursor. If I put this one here on the top of the beam, so as you can see here, I can slice the model. So let's say, for example, this part interfere my model, and then here I can click also here, and then I can click also this. So I want to look onto this this view only. Yeah, so this one. So I can slice up the model. So clip plane. Yeah. And then if you don't want that clip plane anymore, just simply select the scissor, interrupt, right click, interrupt, and then select the scissor and then press the delete key from your keyboard. Okay. Next is, what if let's say I want the I want this column. Okay, because I have the selection filter. So I want to show the column only. This column, this particular column, I want to show only this particular column. You can right click on the column and then show only selected. Okay? Or you can select this column and this column, right click and then show only selected. Look what will happen. It will highlight only that column. Now, let's say you want to hide totally the other element beside this selected column. Okay? Because at the moment, the other element which is not selected, it becomes a ghost image, right? But if you want to really hide those elements, all you have to do is, again, select this, right click, and then press the shift key, right click, and then show only selected. Right? So you need to press the shift key, enable for you to hide everything beside the one that you have selected. And then if you want to restore or to show again all the elements, select the view, right click, and then redraw. Okay? So if you want to select something, select, press the shift key, right click, and then show only selected. If you want to restore, right click, and then redraw. Now, what if you want to hide the selected element? If you want to hide now. So if you want to hide, let's say here, I want to hide all this, right click and then hide. Without pressing the shift key, if I hide this one, then it will give the center line. Okay? But, okay, redraw. But if I press the shift key and then select and then press the shift key and right click and then hide, so everything will be hidden. There will be no center line. Okay? And then if you want to restore that one, the view, then redraw. Okay, try that one, the hide and show selected. Okay, so now another viewing option here in Tekla structure is this. Let's say, for example, you want to isolate this particular beam. You want to isolate. You want to get the top view, the front view, the side view of this particular beam only. Okay? We all know that the front view of this one is in our view proper, is already in our view list, right? But if you want the individual front view or top view of this beam, all you have to do is to select this beam, right click on it, and then under this menu you can see here create view. Select the beam, right click, create view. Then there are selections here, right? Let's try to click on the 3D view of part. 3D view of part. So this is what will happen. So I isolated this beam, and then if I press Ctrl P, so that one is the front view of this beam. 3D view of part. Now, if I want to show the 4 different views, then I must select, right click, create view, default views with S, views of part. So it will give you 4 parts. Front view, side view, top view, and then the 3D view. Okay? Yeah.
Can you redo, undo? Undo that.
You mean the Control P? Or no? Oh, sorry. Okay. So, that's what you're asking?
Oh, so this is a separate view.
Yeah, it's a separate view. We'll create a separate view. The reason why it's overlapping because you maximize the view.
I thought it was the same view line.
It's a separate view. Yeah. So it will create a 4 separate view here. Then you can work on this. By the way, the Tekla structure can only open 9 maximum views at a time. 9 views here, because that one is too much already. So most of the time you work only 1-2 views, but maximum of 9 views. If it happens that you cannot create another view anymore because you already shown 9 views already in the window, so you must close the other view, enable for you to open another view or create another view. Okay, and you will see the open view under this window here. See, I have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 views open. Okay, so now we can close this one out. So that's how you create the view if you want to isolate. So again, you will notice that you will notice that this one, if look, I want to show you something as well, because if you notice here, if I create 3D view, you can see the neighbor part. The neighbor part meaning I create the beam, the neighbor part is the column and the other beams. That we call it a neighbor part. Okay? But now, what if I don't want to show the neighbor part when I create the basic view? So there's an option on that one. But you must select this one. Select assemblies. That one, select assemblies. There is an icon, select assemblies. Okay? You must select assembly. So if I select the assembly, select these assemblies, and then now look, if I click on this beam and right click and then create 3D view or 3D views of part, look what will happen. It will be the individual, it will be the assembly. Assembly meaning if there are some elements attached to this beam, it will be shown here because that one is part of the assembly. Okay? So even if I select create default views, so it will give me 4 different views of that particular assembly or element. Okay? But again, if there are elements which is included in this assembly, then it will be shown. And then once you're done with that, you can now go back to this select component. So by default, you must select component. So assembly, you just select the select assembly icon whenever it's needed. But by default, you must select component or objects in component. Okay, any question on that one before we move to the object representation? So, yeah.
Select assembly.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to click on the thing that you said and then click on the beam.
Yeah.
And then it isolates automatically.
No, you need to right click and then create view, 3D view. So meaning it will isolate that particular element, that particular assembly actually, not element but assembly, because there are cases that there could be a part which is attached to that beam, so it will be included in that view because you select assembly. Later on, we maybe hopefully tomorrow we will have a sample of items that will be attached in the assembly. Okay, so we will just finish only on this modeling and viewing in the model. All right, so any other question? If no other question, then we'll move on to the object representation. So what is object representation? So object representation, again, if you open the view properties, now this will complete the explanation here in the view properties. We already I already explained to you about this view, name, angle, projection, the visibility already explained, display already explained, object group already explained. Now the last one is this representation. So if you click on the representation, kindly click on the representation. Yeah, so this representation, we don't need to create the rules. Why? Because we have already created the rules earlier when we did it in the view properties or in the view filter. Okay? So the same rule will be applied here in the object representation. If it is a column, then it will be column. If it is a beam, then it will be beam. Unless you create another rules that rule for the column, concrete column, or rule for the steel column, or beam this size, beam that size. Okay? But we put that one as a general now. So now, look. If you notice, in object representation, by default, there is a all, color by class, and then visible. That's the general rule here. That your view or your element will be shown color by class. So, meaning, if you notice here, this yellow, magenta, red, blue color, and gray color, the reason why the color of this one is according to the class because of the setting here, color by class. Look, all, the object group is all, meaning whatever element is that, it's all. Color by class, according to the class number that we select. Transparency is visible. Now, let's say for example, I want to change the color of all the element in one color. So you go to this color, and then let's say select this green, and then modify. Look what will happen. Everything will be green because the color all. Now, in this case, we can now get the rules of the filter, and then we color the elements according to what we want. Okay? So, but let's say the all color is by color green, and then look, add row. If you add row, under the object group, you pull down this object group, you can see now the ace, let's say column, ace column filter. Select the ace column filter. So what color would you like to put in the ace column filter? So under the color, click choose color. Okay? If you click choose color, so this time it will be more than 15 colors. Like what I've said earlier, we have a default 15 colors, but under the object representation, it will be more than that. Look, if you click define custom color, see, you can, let's say I click this color, sky blue, and then I make it lighter, baby blue, like that. So the color now is not from the 15 color. This one is different, right? So baby blue, and then click OK, and then modify. Look what will happen. See, my column is baby blue. Then if I add another row, and then select the ace beam filter, and then the beam, I'm going to choose the color of the beam, choose color. So let's say I want the color of my beam as beige, little bit, yeah, something like this. Yeah, little bit beige, or yeah, click OK, and then modify. So look what will happen. So now the color of my beam become it's like a brown or something. Then another row, if I click this ace beam and then I change the foundation, okay, foundation, so I may choose let's say I may choose the this what do you call that, purple one, but modify, see, foundation, but I want to change this one, the visibility to, let's say 50% transparent. So look, my foundation is 50% transparent. So meaning, in your structure, if you have a glass window, okay, you can put the name as a glass, and then make the transparency of the glass from 50%, 70%, up to 90%. Okay? And if you are happy with this setting, so all you have to do is just simply save this one as ace objects. Ace objects. Save as. Right? So this one now is my ace object. Save as, click OK, and then modify. So look, if I change this one to standard and then modify, so it will go back to my standard color, right? So now, if I want to show my representation, and then select ace objects and then modify, so see here, that is the color now with the shade. Yeah.
Is there a way to add a custom property?
What do you mean custom property?
Like here we have the mean, general contingency. I want to add another property like pricing or whatever.
Okay. Are you talking about these properties?
Yeah.
And then you want to have a here user-defined attributes. Yeah, this one. So you can add more. This one is customizable. It's already there by default with the user field 1, user field 2. You can rename this one and you can even add more tabs. So we call it UDA, the custom properties, UDA, user-defined attributes. So if you want to add more comments or more notes, then you put it in the user-defined attributes.
And I can use this to make a new filter or
Yeah. You can use this one for new filter, yes. Especially if you're if you have the same name, you have the same profile, but in a different notes, then you can use this. Actually, this one, see, if you select this beam, right click, you can see here user-defined attributes as well. Okay, any question on this? Again, this one is object representation only. It's not something like the main color of the Tekla structure. But I mean, if you want to present this color, then this one is this is the way. Yeah. What else? Okay. I just want to remind you that if it is a transparent view, you cannot click the object here. Right? You cannot click the object. See, if I double click this one, it will open the view properties because it's transparent. So if it is transparent, you must select the edge. So the edge is if it is transparent. But again, in Tekla structure, you can always interchange the transparent to solid by pressing Ctrl 2 and Ctrl 4. Even you are inside the command. Let's say, for example, you are in the your move or copy command is able or is active. You can always change the representation to solid view or to a transparent view. Okay, so solid view, transparent view can be used anytime. You can interchange the that mode. All right. Another tip here. Let's say, for example, you want to have a snapshot of your model, right? You want to have a snapshot, and then, of course, for the snapshot, you can change that one to perspective view. And then you want to have a snapshot. So, for the snapshot, you don't want to see this construction line. Just turn off the construction line under the display. Here, you can turn off the grid, you can turn off the construction line, and then modify. So, there's no grid, no construction line, no points. So, you have a clean, okay, remove this one. Okay, so you have a clean view. Now, it's not totally clean because you have a working area, right? You can remove that one temporarily by press the Control Shift key, right click, and then redraw. Control Shift key, right click, and then redraw. Yeah. So now it's clean. So you can now create. You can go to the view, and then here under snapshot. So here you can see here screenshot, or you can click create thumbnail image of model. So if you click this one, project, pick view, So when I pick view, that one will be the thumbnail of my project. What is the thumbnail? So here, if you click open, recent, all models, and then select the, recent. Why it's new model? Mine is new model. Okay, see. So look at this one. Can you see that? This one is a thumbnail. So meaning, before you open the model, when you create a thumbnail, so you can see what will be the model that you're opening. Just click that one. Click. Yeah. Can you see that? You go to the open, recent, and then click, and then here. Before you click the open, so you can see the thumbnail. So that's the model that you're about to open. Did you get it? No?
I managed to capture it, but I still cannot see it.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. Did you get it right? You just click the model.
So I'm doing this.
Yeah. Reset. Click. Yeah, I have to click. Sorry. You get it? Okay, you did not click that one. So, yeah, click that one. Upload this. So, go to the snapshot. View. Snapshot. Then, okay, go to the open. Okay, got it. Yeah, just click. Yeah. Actually, again, that one is new pictures. Before, you have to save that one to the model folder and then map it. Now it's good that when you click, it will automatically go to the thumbnail, which is much more easier. All right. I think it's okay. Yeah. So, any other question? If not, I think we can stop from here, and then we'll continue tomorrow for the details. More on the detailing. Detailing means remember the cuts that I told you not to do that one. So that all those cuts will be part of the detailing tools.
Also the joints, the same, right?
Yes.
Welds and all that.
If you're talking about the steel, yes. The welding, yes. We can do that one. So tomorrow will be on that part, the details. I don't know if we can still we can do the reinforcement tomorrow, but hopefully in the late afternoon, if we still have time, then we can tackle the reinforcement. But tomorrow we focus more on the detailing tools. So we will create some parts to attach on the concrete, create the connection on the between the concrete and the structural steel, putting the bolts. So that's all the details. Yeah. And then after that, I think we move on to the reinforcement. Okay, so if there's no other question, I think we can call it a day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, thank you.